I am very honored to be here today, and this afternoon I'm going to be focusing on ethics in golf later today, but for now we're going to talk about how Eaton, as a global manufacturing company, integrates ethics into our program. So I'd like to start with going through the agenda of what we're talking about. We're going to look at global challenges, ethics at Eaton, what it means to us, how do we incorporate it so that all 70,000 employees understand that it's an important part of how we do business. And then we're going to look at the benefits of an effective ethics program. So with that, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Eaton Corporation. We are a global manufacturing company, and our goal is to power business worldwide. Golf Pride is a very unique business opportunity for us. We've acquired Golf Pride. Alyssa's going to get into a little more detail of this afternoon. But we acquired Golf Pride, I think it was over 50 years ago. And it was through acquisition. We wanted to buy a company that had industrial brakes and clutches. And part of the deal was, if you buy this company, then you get my other business, which is golf grips. And because it was so incredibly successful, we kept it. And oftentimes, that is how acquisitions work. We grow through acquisition, and sometimes the seller will say, great, you can take this, but as long as you do this other one too, that we don't want anymore. So a lot of times we sell those off, but in this case, it worked out very well for us, so we kept it. Our organizational structure is really divided into electrical and industrial. Industrial combines aerospace, hydraulics, and vehicle. Golf Pride is part of our hydraulics group. So our vision is to be the most admired company in our markets. How do we measure our success? We want customers to say that they want to do more business with us. They want shareholders to consider us to be one of their best investments. We want employees to say that I'm proud to be part of the Eaton team. And we want suppliers to say that Eaton is one of my most valued customers. Ethics ties into all of this, right? If we do business right, our customers or suppliers are going to trust in the business relationships they have with us. Our employees are going to feel safe working for a company that's known to have a positive reputation. And our shareholders will know that we protect the value of our stock by doing business the right way. So it's a really key part in all of these measures of success. So the video touched on this a little bit. We are committed to doing business right. We have been honored by Ethisphere Institute as one of the world's most ethical companies for 4 consecutive years. It's been going on for 4 years, so we've had it every time. The first year, they even did a feature article on our CEO because he has such a strong message. He's very good at engaging the culture of the organization and the tone from the top. But you can see also that we have a lot of green initiatives. So from a sustainability perspective, we want to do business the right way. So we care about how we get results. This is a quote from Sandy Cutler, our CEO. We're here to achieve great results, but each of us must demonstrate that we care intensely about how we get those results. They are worth little and unlikely to endure if achieved unethically. The picture on the left is our ethics guide. So this is a 44-page book that helps to provide guidance and right and wrong and examples of behavior that's expected of our employees. Tone at the top is a really critical element of our program, and we're going to continue to spread this message throughout the presentation. So I think it's important first to start with a definition. What's ethics? What's business ethics? Are they different? So global company, 70,000 employees. More than half of those employees are outside of the United States. Do you think we ever hear, oh, you're just trying to impose your American beliefs and values on us? Absolutely. And that's not what it's about. It's about how do we do business on behalf of Eaton to uphold Eaton's values. So it's an important distinction. It's what we expect our employees to do when working on behalf of Eaton. So therefore, it's important to know what Eaton's values are. If we're going to uphold them, we need to know what the values are. So these are actually refreshed values. They don't change much, and we don't refresh them too often. Just every 10 years or so. These were refreshed about a year ago. And we incorporated integrity into it. We act honest and ethical when doing business on behalf of Eaton. And it's one company, one commitment, no matter where in the world we're doing business. And we have the compass as our icon for our value statements because it's what guides us. So we're a global company. with a large footprint. We have high growth initiatives, and there's something called the globalization of standards taking place. So we're going to go into a little bit of the how. We are in all these different businesses, and we have employees in 70,000 employees around the world in about 43 countries. The blue is where we have businesses, roughly. It changes every so often. So it's roughly where we have employees. So we have a lot of the map covered. There's something called globalization and standardization going on. So while each country has its own laws and regulations, so there's emission standards and anti-corruption and antitrust and labor laws and all of these things that are taking place in countries around the world, generally they're fairly similar. Most countries have anti-corruption laws. What's different? How they're enforced? What's acceptable business practices in those countries? Right? So U.S. is very strict at enforcing how we do business and our anti-corruption standards and rules about the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, for example. You can't pay or accept bribes or kickbacks to government officials. It goes beyond that, though. We also look at it from a commercial perspective. So it's very broad-based about how these rules are applied around the world. And then there's Transparency International. This is a non-government organization that really leads the fight in corruption initiatives, anti-corruption initiatives around the world. And each year they publish this Corruption Perceptions Index. 2010 is their most recent. As the shades of orange get darker, that's where corruption is more prevalent. So if you go back to where Eaton does business, the shades of blue, and you look at where the shades of orange are, there's a lot of overlap. So we do business in a lot of parts of the world where corruption is prevalent. So it is not just in China and India and the Middle East where it's known to be more corrupt and different ways of doing business than in the United States. Think about Western Europe. In Germany, it wasn't until just a number of years ago that bribery became illegal. Not only was it legal, it was tax deductible. So if you paid a bribe, you could write it off. So it's not just in the developing world, it's also in Western Europe, in Germany. So it is challenging to do business the right way in a lot of the places where we work. Ernst & Young does a global fraud survey. They looked at 1,200 major companies in 33 countries. A staggering 23% knew of someone who had been solicited to pay a bribe to win or keep a business. And 33% of those polled believe that corruption is getting worse. And then the World Bank does an anti-corruption report, and they show that manufacturing companies pay more bribes and pay them more frequently than other sectors. Like Eaton's a manufacturing company, so we have our work cut out for us. So what do you need to do to evaluate your risks? Because it's all about risk management, right? Risk mitigation. You need to know what standards are relevant to the industries that you work in, what the laws and regulations are, how you are going to abide by the laws and do business the right way. How do you maintain a business relationship in a region of the world that expects kickbacks, and yet you're not going to pay a kickback? Are you going to be able to keep that business? How do you manage it? So these are some of the whys and the hows that we talk to our employees about. And we'll walk away from business that we can't keep if it has to be kept in a way that is unethical. Our footprint impacts how we do business. As I said, now we have more employees outside of the United States, so we've got a lot of challenges to make sure that one company, one commitment is upheld. Interaction with government officials is a big one. There are a lot of specific laws that regulate how you can interact with government officials, and a lot of our businesses is interacting with government officials, whether it's getting the utilities turned on in a location in China, having an agent sell for us in Dubai. It doesn't matter where we're at. There's a lot of government officials that come into place. And the use of third parties. Third parties is the one thing right now that our board of directors is really looking at us for a lot of help with. Third party is a huge risk area for us. So we hire agents and distributors to do business on behalf of Eaton. Do we know if they're doing business in a legal and legitimate way on behalf of us? How do we measure that? How do we make sure they are? Because it's not just the third party that can get in trouble if they aren't. it's Eaton. We're the ones hiring them to do the work on our behalf, so therefore we need to make sure that they're doing it correctly and they uphold our expectations of doing business. So ethics at Eaton. I'm going to go through a short history of our ethics program, the resources in our code of ethics, and then we're going to take a quick look at the tone at the top. So ethics at Eaton is a long-standing tradition. It wasn't a result of Enron or WorldCom or any of these other scandals that have happened in recent years. We had our first statement of ethical business conduct in 1976, and before that we even had guidance on what types of gifts and entertainment were acceptable. So even back in the 50s, we had guidance published on that. 1976, our first statement of ethical business conduct, and in 2003, we formed the Ethics and Compliance Office.